Hey friends, Jill and Nathan here. Welcome back to Whispering Willow Farm. Today we are diving into the freeze dryer. That is what this video is going to be about. If you guys remember, gosh, over a month ago, Nathan got a freeze dryer in. We are affiliate partners with Harvest Right and they sent us one. And Nathan's been slowly trying to assemble it, get familiar with it to where he felt good enough for us to do this video together. So I'm gonna let you kind of give the specs of our freeze dryer, the size, what it's capable of. I'll probably have some other B-roll footage in here where you guys can see. I'll go down in the basement and do some footage, but you just kind of want to give them an overview of the freeze dryer that we have.
Sure.
Okay.
So when I first got it in, we were just crazy busy.
Yeah.
And I think it took me 3 weeks before I even unboxed it.
Mm-hmm.
I was so excited about it, but I had so many other things going on that it took me forever. Then I finally unboxed it, plugged everything up, super easy, step-by-step instructions. Even this guy could figure it out. But I never turned it on. I never turned it on, and I never read the the setup guide. So when I got ready to use it, I got the setup guide out and I was like, oh snap, I need to do a functionality test. I need to run some bread through it. Little things that I just should have done. And so basically that's why I am 50 days late on a freeze dryer video.
So what size is our freeze dryer? Because there's different sizes, right?
Yeah, so we got the medium size that handles 4 trays.
So you can do, okay, and then I guess I could grab a tray size and show
right
them real quick. Oh. So it'll fit 4 this size. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And these are nice, heavy-duty stainless steel trays.
Yeah, they are really nice. So. And you were telling me the other day that once we freeze dry this, it lasts for like 25 years.
Yeah, it can last up to 25 years if you have it sealed properly and with an oxygen absorber. So as a prepper, we have lots and lots of food stored, but not a whole lot of it, is good for 25 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So this was the biggest enticing thing. You grow all this food, and we can, we can dehydrate, we can preserve in many ways, but it does not stay good as long. I know that we have a bountiful harvest one year. I can freeze dry a ton of stuff and know that we're good for.
So how long you keep it in there? Is that dependent on what it is that you're freeze drying?
Yes and no. Anything that is high in fats and sugars, the process takes longer, and fats don't really freeze dry real well. It just depends on what you're freeze drying. But for instance, we're doing cabbage right now, and the cabbage, will stay good for forever. Yeah.
So we're gonna walk you guys through that process. And also I'm gonna turn the camera around and kind of let you show what all came in that, like when we received the freeze dryer, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm just now seeing for the first time. So I'd love for you to kind of explain that to me as well.
Yeah, so we were sent the bundle.
Okay.
And it came with the sealer, the Mylar bags. I can show you.
Yeah, so let's look here. So with the bundle, which we will find the one that we have and link it down below for you guys.
It came with 50 Mylar bags.
Nice. Okay, so you freeze dry your stuff. You put it in here.
And this is the sealer.
Okay.
If you've ever used a vacuum sealer, very similar. This just doesn't have a vacuum on it.
Okay.
It's got little notches right here in the bags. And you put it right there just above the notches, and then you press down and hold. And this sealer is adjustable. This bag is pretty thick, so I've got it on 8 seconds.
Gotcha. And then here is this oxygen absorber. I guess you have a thing. What is?
Yeah, so each container, whether it's a mason jar, Gladlock bag, you know, Mylar bag, whatever, you put one oxygen absorber in there.
Okay. So I guess that would be another question too, is if someone bought this and they didn't buy the bundle, they don't have to buy these bags. Like, we could just use any sort of bag?
They do not. However, I did one thing in the cabbage.
Is this avocado on here? You can freeze dry an avocado?
Yes.
Wow.
So, this is some that we've already done, and I chose to put this in just a gallon storage bag because we're doing so much cabbage. One tray fit in here, and I didn't want to use all my bags, and so primarily what I'm going to use this for when I reconstitute it is either putting it in soups and stews. I may try to do some larger instead of the shredded larger that I will be able to reconstitute, put in the cast iron skillet, you know.
Like patties, like thick patties.
Yeah. And so I just didn't want to use all my bags. You know.
So if you guys remember, the other day I went and harvested a bunch of cabbage, and I was trying to do prep work for Nathan because I knew he was getting ready to freeze dry this. And so I took a, what is this, like a 2-gallon bucket or something, and I just chopped it up pretty fine, just like what you saw, and filled this up. And we're just gonna kind of walk you through. We already have some done, but we have some that we're about to put in there. So we're gonna walk you through what that process looks like. We didn't add anything to it. So like, if you wanted to add spices or seasoning, do you do that now, or just when you get ready to use it whenever?
That's a great question, and I'll get back to you. So, you know, I'm still researching, but you know, one thing that I'm looking into is, you know, these mushrooms, these broccoli bites, all the freeze-dried okra that we buy at Whole Foods or wherever. And I'm pretty sure that's something you do after the freeze-dry process.
Okay. So you're just figuring out what it is you want to freeze dry, how you want it. Like, I thought that was interesting that this was done in jars. So you
freeze dried in the freeze dryer, and then you can store it in jars. Right. And so when we get down to, this is going to be another video because I don't have time to do it right now, but we have got a deep freeze, a chest deep freeze full of produce from last year before. I've got gallon bags of kale. And so what do we use kale the most? Smoothies, right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out of the freezer. You know, it's already going to be frozen, and then we're going to freeze dry it. Then we're going to put it in a food processor, and we're going to make kale powder. And I'm going to put that in a mason jar, so when you get ready to make your smoothies, you take a scoop. You know, you've got your good kale powder. I want to do the same thing with beets.
So light. So on here, they've got raspberries, pineapples, asparagus, strawberries,
you can do
tomatoes, avocado, apple, blueberries. This would even be good too, like if we see that stuff's like going bad, like just throw it in the freeze dryer. This is gonna be
that's one of the biggest points for a freeze dryer over, let's say, a dehydrator. Is utilizing your leftovers, you know, not wasting anything. Right now, you know, anything extra goes to our pigs.
That's true. So it's not technically being wasted.
It's not being wasted, but you know, I'm wanting to do chili. So next time I make a big pot of chili, I'm gonna freeze dry.
That gumbo, y'all, I made the best gumbo on the spot. I didn't even have a recipe. It was good. Oh, it was so good. Anyways, okay. So you ready to show them? So you guys saw I chopped up all the stuff beforehand.
Yes, and I mean, you just put it on the. You gonna bring it over?
Yeah, sure. Alrighty. Mama's got sourdough starter trying to activate back there. So you laid out.
Yeah, pretty thin. I may have this a little too thick, but just pretty thin. And what's really neat is after this process, this cabbage took about 30 hours.
Alright, so we're gonna take these and put them in the freeze dryer. We keep our freeze dryer down in our garage. Nathan built a table. It's just so big that
Nathan and Handyman Ron.
Oh yeah, Nathan and Handyman Ron. So that is one thing, just make sure you have space for it. Alright, so here we have our freeze dryer.
Yes. And so I hit start. And And
Okay.
the first thing it tells you is to close the drain valve. So after that last batch, I open the drain valve,
Okay.
drain all the moisture out.
Okay.
So when I close the drain valve, it will.
Can I get where you are and look in the front of it? Oh, wow. So I've actually not even seen this. That's cool. So the trays just slide right in there.
You can see the frost inside.
Yeah, I see it. That is wild. So you're essentially just taking this and sliding it in.
See, shows up here. Everybody has a smartphone. This is a smart freeze dryer. This thing literally does everything.
Okay.
So when I close it, all I do is hit continue, and it's freezing.
Okay. And so you have it set to the 30 hours, and so you just know, or it turns off, like you set it to 30 hours?
It literally will detect the moisture content. And so what's weird, what I didn't realize at first is, you know, I thought after 24 hours, I came and checked it, and it said that I could either stop or I could continue drying for another, you know, it will pull all the moisture out of there, but then the drying process is what takes a little bit longer.
Okay. So we actually have some pulled out because Nathan started this process a couple days ago. So let's head up to the kitchen again and we'll talk about that.
Sounds good.
All right, babe. So I have a question. Once you do that initial setup, it doesn't really matter what it is you're putting in there. You just cut it up however you choose to, stick it in there. The manual will tell you approximately how long, and then that's it. Like you're not doing anything other than just the putting it in, continue, and it stops.
So you can modify.
Okay.
And you know, I'm a part of these freeze drying groups. It also comes with a quick start guide.
Okay.
They sent us the, where'd it go?
Oh, it's behind you.
Basically like best practices.
Okay.
Guide to freeze drying.
Okay.
Read this. This was pretty key. You know, and it just basically tells you how to freeze dry different things. You know, it's broke down into categories. You know, whether it's meats, fruits and veggies, dairy, herbs.
That's cool.
You know,
I need to look through this.
Yeah, baby food. I mean, there's so many different things you can make. And it tells you how to do it. So.
Okay, very cool. I think I might go on a freeze drying kick because this is really cool.
Well, I like this because I just think about the things we buy, right? When we get into the warmer weather, Jill, the kids, myself, I mean, we drink smoothies almost daily.
That is true. That is like a staple in our house.
We're always buying fruit, right, to put in the smoothies. We're always buying additives, whether that is a super greens or beet powder or all those
wheatgrass. We got on a wheatgrass kick.
I mean,
So
have you ever bought beet powder? Beet powder is super expensive.
It is so expensive, and you can only find it at health food stores. And yeah, I mean, it's way cheaper to be able to grow out your own things like that. Even wheatgrass, we were looking at doing that on the counter as microgreens and harvesting it and dehydrating it because it was cheaper to do that, even with my time and labor in it, than it was to buy it from the whole food store that we were sourcing it from.
Well, and I mean, we know why it's so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about beetroot powder.
Yeah.
All right,
So many
you got to
nutrients.
grow the beet.
Yeah.
You got to cut them up. They freeze dry them, and then, you know, put them in the food process. I mean, there's a lot of labor involved. So.
All right, so let's move on to the next step. Let's show them what it looks like after we have freeze-dried it for 30 hours. You can see here, Nathan does have that pack. So this goes in that, what was it called, an oxygen absorber. It goes in with each bag, no matter how you choose. So I'm assuming you put this in your mason jars as well? Okay.
Just one per container.
One per container, okay.
And it literally feels like styrofoam.
It does.
Listen. Shh. You hear that?
It's so hard for me to be quiet. Bless it.
That's when I noticed when I picked it up for the first time. I was like, oh wow, this snaps. Like it feels like styrofoam.
So I'll be honest, I tried it. It's pretty flavorless right now. It's kind of it really kind of tastes like styrofoam. It has this kind of like foamy taste. And we also didn't choose the most exciting thing ever to freeze dry. We chose, you know,
right. But
cabbage.
when you reconstitute this, it will have
look at that,
over 90% of the nutritional value.
Look, that is crazy. That is a cool thing too, because someone asked us the other day, why this? Like freeze dryers, if you guys have looked into them, they are an investment for sure. So what is the value of this over a dehydrator? Well, one, that lasts so much longer. But two, a lot of times when you dehydrate, you are dehydrating out all the nutrients. Same with juicing. Like I get on these big juicing kicks, especially in the summer. And I love to juice. We have a nice juicer. However, sometimes it would have been more beneficial for me just to eat the vegetables whole than juicing it out, because you're juicing out a lot of those key nutrients that's in the vegetable. And so that was one thing that was kind of just like a no-brainer for us too, even before we decided to partner with them when we were going to do this, was that it holds that nutritional value. It's not sucking and dehydrating all of it out.
Well, and a dehydrator, you know, retains a lot, just not as much as the freeze drying method.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. I'm really wanting to play with chilies, casseroles, you know, things like that. Start freeze drying some leftovers. But
so is that one bag from the 4 trays?
3 trays.
3 trays.
1 gallon bag.
Y'all.
Versus 1 tray going in this, and they may have different size Mylar bags.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to use all my bags. And then we've got a cupboard downstairs with shelves, and it's lined with all our stuff.
I could just have this beautiful vision of my pantry just lined with mason jars full of just freeze-dried fruits and vegetables.
We'll make that happen. I'll let you organize it though.
Deal. So we have busted into it. That is what it looks like. Pretty simple so far. It's been pretty simple. I'm excited, like you said, just to explore the other options.
I was very shocked at how just easy it is. Literally out of the box. Follow the simple instructions. Hooking up the pump, plugging it in, like it is just ready to roll.
Yeah.
Like they made it super easy.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, there's our part 1 of a very long freeze drying series. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is gonna be, I'm like, now that I'm seeing it, like I knew that it was gonna be cool, but I think now just seeing it and like visually seeing like what, I guess I just didn't realize.
When you start diving into what all you can freeze dry.
Look, there's peaches.
Peaches. So, you know, we've got strawberry season coming up. I mean, how many quarts and boxes of strawberries do we go? I mean, we go through 1,000 pounds of strawberries.
You know what might even be cool too, and this would just be for funsies? The edible flowers that I grow. Freeze drying the edible flowers, and we could take them out and garnish them on like homemade ice cream in the summertime, or making simple syrups out of them.
To my knowledge, you know, another benefit of the freeze dryer versus a dehydrator is if you were to take those flowers, it retains its color and everything as well.
Oh, that's
versus
cool.
a dehydrator, I'm pretty sure it browns. And
okay, you guys, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I love sweets and I love gummy bears. Check this out. They freeze dried a stinking gummy bear. Do you see that?
Gummy bears and Skittles.
Skittles. Oh my goodness. cheesecake bites. Okay, this just got way more interesting. Well, we will keep you posted. I'm gonna sit here with my cup of coffee and indulge in the guide to freeze drying and think of all the random things I can go get so we can freeze dry, which is probably not the point of it, but.
When we go to the grocery store, so, you know, we grow most of our own produce, you know, and we told ourselves the other day that we are not buying another vegetable in a grocery store because we've got either enough preserved
or fresh still
to last us until,
which is such a good feeling too. We are starting to take steps and plan out the orchard too, because we do grow most of our plant needs. And even our meats, like, you know, we've got the pigs that we'll butcher soon. We put up meat birds this summer. We buy our beef and
locally.
Our beef's from a local farm. We're really wanting to emphasize on the fruits because that is something that we are spending a lot of money on sourcing out. When they are in season, obviously we go and we try to buy, you know, bulk peaches and bulk strawberries and things like that.
There's a very large orchard, probably 45 minutes from us. It was very close to our old house, and they grow everything. And they do the you pick, you go and pick, and the kids love it. So so we are going to try to work on figuring out orchard plans here, which we are real excited about. We would love your suggestions on that too, just your favorite fruit trees and bushes and, you know, things like that. That's something we're trying to work through. But thank you guys for hanging out with us as we broke in the freeze dryer, kind of showed you guys what that looked like. Stay tuned. As we figure it out more, we'll definitely be doing more content revolved around this as well. Yes, ma'am. Is that it? That's a wrap? That's a wrap. That's all I got. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.